Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
Join us as we explore the prize inside, looking at holistic health and extraordinary human potential.
Hi there.
Hi there.
The Prize Inside, a podcast dedicated to holistic living and unlocking your human potential.
Oh, come on. Speaker view. All right. Welcome, everybody. Sorry about that. Figuring out my situation here. I got some. I guess I could go with the back layout there, but yeah, this is what happens when your prize inside tries to think he's really cool. Okay, I'll go back to my old. There we go. Okay. Dear Lord. All right. Welcome to tonight's 1% Tribe. Hopefully you guys are having a great weekend. This one is a special request from one of our bigger fans, right? Brian brought up like we should talk about tension headaches this week. So we're going to do that. The coolest part of each week on Sunday night, we talk about three different things. We talk about thoughts, toxins, trauma. So we talk about all those three things. What do those three things have in common? Those three things are what, if we could get rid of them out of our human body, our innate intelligence of our body would be able to thrive. And with that thriving, that innate intelligence, the AI that no one will ever beat, which is in our biology, it will explode in good ways. So remember that the body needs no help. It just needs no interference. Right. And that's what we kind of strive for in the holistic perspective. So that's what, like chiropractic wise, we know that, but is it a struggle? Oh my gosh. Yes. And that's what all of these nights will be about. So last week was an herb. I think. Yeah. And then next week will be mental clarity stuff. So positive mental aspects. So tonight, let's get started. There's a lot to go through with tension headaches. And the first thing we got to do is understand the difference between basically a tension type headache and these other various ones, because there's many different ones out there. And hopefully we can help kind of discern it and give you a better idea. I didn't realize, when somebody says headache, you don't know how to, like determine what it's from. And a lot of times these tension ones, it's not just tension like stress. There's a lot of other options to it too. So with that said, I want to make sure you guys are all following, right? That there's a few places. I want you to go to the Prize Insider Rumble, where here is a link for that. I'm up to 70. My goal by the end of the year, I want to have 100 people. That would be amazing. And then we have a YouTube channel. YouTube, it's growing a little bit each time. So it's the Prize Inside the Prize Inside a Chiropractor's Journey. If you look up a Prize Inside and start a chiropractor's journey on either YouTube or Rumble, you'll probably find the little logo up there. And what's nice about being subscribing on there, it's all free, but you get to get in there and get like an old video like this will have a lot of information. And so with that information, maybe listening to it a couple times or in the spots that you'd like to will be helpful. And the other one I want to really promote tonight is called tribe1.substack.com. So tribe1.substack.com is a place where I put my if you get on that email list, you get a notification right now, basically, of that I'm going live. Okay. Later though, and this weekend, I've figured out how to get a newsletter written, and so I'm working on that, which I'm pretty pumped about. Using AI in a sense that makes it quicker. Like we did one, I just did a newsletter. So the tribe1.substack.com, because like what was happening is like when we go over herbals, that we had some recipes that you could use. Like, in elderberry, there was like elderberry pie and, all these different ones. And I was like, man, me just saying it, that's hard. Like, I know myself, I like to have a paper copy, or some kind of email or something like that. So we made that possible. So now we made a really nice email off of the words that I use in that elderberry talk. So as you go, like maybe it's something to subscribe to. And that way you can really, get in there and, hopefully I'll keep bringing more content to that. I really want to make that, Substack something that you guys really enjoy, or the latest and greatest. So with that said, all of those things are happening. Let's get on with our presentation. So this is called Headstrong, Natural Solutions for Tension Headaches. All right. So we're going to start, and there's quite a bit like what we normally do, right? So we want to talk, anytime we talk conditions, we go through some physical things to do. Oh, I'm glad I brought that up to you guys. Got to make sure I got everything going. Some physical things to do, some nutritional things to do, and some mental things to do. So a lot of times that is what I like to do. Oh, this is what I need. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Because a lot of times when you start looking at tension headaches, when you'll look at these, and we're going to go through some pretty obvious pieces, but it was wild. In my brain as a chiropractor, I see it every day. I'm evaluating you as you walk in on a bunch of these different aspects. How your head is ranging on your neck and your shoulders, right? And so to understand that people don't know that, it's not even really searched on YouTube. So you'll see what I'm fascinated by this. So forward head posture is all over YouTube, but the other parts, not so much. So with that said, let's talk about it. All right. So what we're going to go over tonight is figure out the difference between tension headaches and other kinds like migraine headaches, why these tension headaches occur in the first place, exercises, movement patterns you can do yourself, nutritional solutions that can help, and some mindset stuff that we can talk about that may help tension headaches as well. Okay. Oh, before we start, my tea of the night. This is milk thistle. I'm kind of addicted. It's really, really good. The other thing we did again, my youngest daughter, Lexi, will not do it, even though she's traumatized by just me telling her what was in it. We did an avocado pudding again. Phenomenal. I love it. It's better than real pudding, I swear. Anyway, so let us continue. So let's go from there. All right. So understanding tension versus migraine headaches. Tension headaches and migraines are two of the most common types of headaches, but they differ very, very significantly in pain, quality, severity, associated symptoms, triggers, and impact on daily life. So here's a clear, easy comparison. So tension headaches feel like a tight band or constant pressure squeezing around your head, often described as a vice or a helmet sensation. The pain is usually mild to moderate, dull and achy, and affects both sides of the head equally. A lot of times, the big thing on tension headaches, it's such a weird thing. Like the pain might not be excruciating, but it never lets up. And so that's where it gets exhausting. And it's maybe not as bad as a migraine where you literally have to like go to bed to sleep it off of some sort or take something, those kind of things. But tension headaches can be a lot more common, a lot more often, or consistent, like where they just don't let go. All right. So, and then migraine headaches are typically throbbing or pulsing pain, but they're usually moderate to severe. There's not a lot of light, dull ones. And they can be absolutely like you cannot do anything. Okay. And so that's not what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about the tension ones. Okay. It usually affects one side of the head, though it can be both sides in a migraine, and it worsens with physical activity. Sometimes your tension headaches will get better with physical activity, and we'll show you how. Okay. So that is a little synopsis. Tension headaches usually have no associated symptoms with them. You won't get like nausea, vomiting, or strong sensitivity to light or sound. You can often continue with your normal activities. It's just awful and sucky. Migraines have frequently include nausea, vomiting, extreme sensitivity to light, sound, smells, sometimes visual disturbances like the aura. You hear about flashing lights or blind spots, those kind of things. So those are the major difference between tension headaches, other symptoms. A lot of times you can have a headache and still tension ones are typically the ones you can still function as a human and not like be out of commission like a migraine can be. Tension headaches can last from 30 minutes to days. Okay. So they're often episodic, but they can be very chronic. Migraines are a little different. You can have 4 to 72 hours, but a lot of times they're so severe. A lot of times they'll weirdly go away after a few days, which is crazy. Like a tension headache doesn't have a rhyme or reason. And I'll tell you why. Some of the reasons is because the physical aspect of mechanics. Okay. So we're going to go over that tonight. Common triggers and causes. So tension headaches often linked to stress, anxiety, poor posture, eye strain, muscle tension in the neck and jaw, or fatigue. So those are your major tension headache ones. Migraines are more neurological. They triggered by hormonal changes, food sensitivities or allergies or whatever, sleep disruption, weather changes, bright lights, strong smells, or stress can also be another trigger. Okay, so let's talk about the good stuff. Okay, so what we're going to talk about first is the physical manifestation of a tension headache. One of the things that I was very shocked when I started researching this one, we do it on a daily basis. The problem is like I didn't realize the level of the lack of knowledge we have on this subject. One of the things that we know from the look of the women's humpback, right? That everybody's so concerned about this big humpback, but that forward head posture, where if you can kind of do it with me, where your ears, when your head is straight, okay, so if it's level to the earth, okay, so you're just sitting or standing, your ears should be literally over your shoulders. And then those ears should actually translate down to being above or over your hips as well. Now, when you're sitting, that's about right as well. Most of us, though, because of cell phones, activities that make your head go forward, let's say you work on a factory line and you're constantly looking down all day, our neck gets used to being, our ears are ahead of our shoulders, so in front of our shoulders, looking down, okay? When you have that forward head posture that looks down, the muscles of the back of your neck and the back of your skull have to work excessively hard, okay? So you got to remember, in the world is that our skull, right? Our skull weighs as much as a bowling ball. Okay. So it's very heavy. And we have this little tiny stick that's trying to hold the posture of this big giant head like on. And some of us unfortunately have bigger problems with that. As my football coaches, I had to have the special helmet, if that tells you anything. So as this head posture, if I go forward at all, the muscles of the back of my head start to tighten. Okay, so they tighten up and they become uneven with the front muscles of your neck. Okay, so your front muscles don't have to work as hard because the back muscles are literally holding your neck up, basically. Okay, what that does is it starts to make a ton of pressure in the back, kind of behind your ears, that portion of the upper neck and up and back of your neck. Okay. And so once that becomes in balance, just like anything else, right? We always talk about balance, like every muscle in our body, if it's balanced, the innate intelligence of the body can do what it's supposed to do. Once we create an imbalance, whether that be a tight hamstring for your low back or a imbalance in the musculature of your neck, you're going to have issues possibly that lead to something like tension headaches. And that's one of the reasons the tension headaches happen. Now, the thing that was shocking to me in the research was we understand the forward head posture. When I'm talking to you now, you're probably like, oh yeah, I know that. The forward head posture, when my head gets too far forward, I get that thing. But the side to side one, okay. So when you're looking at somebody straight on, there is a head tilt that can occur one side versus the other. So it's like as if when you look at somebody, and all of us have had this loved one, where when you look at their head, it looks like they're tilting to the side. Okay. Now, as a chiropractor, I see this on the daily. I think this is the head tilt problem is probably, oh my gosh, I would put, and this is not scientific or anything, but it's like, I would say if you're coming into, when I see it, 80% of the people that walk in, okay, they have some type of head tilt that has occurred. Now, how do you get this? I used to think, remember when everybody answered their phone with their ear on their shoulder, right? That was one way it happens. A lot of times when we sleep on our side and we don't have enough pillow in either direction, that could be a thing. There's a lot of different reasons. One of the other reasons that a head tilts, and this is a weird one, but it will make sense to you. Sometimes we have to get the mechanics of our shoulder right because the shoulder itself, all of the shoulder muscles, pretty much like 95% of the shoulder muscles attach somewhere around in your neck. If there's an imbalance between both shoulders, if let's say you hurt a shoulder years ago pitching a ball or something, and that never got rehabbed, and now one shoulder and all those muscles associated with the shoulder are tighter than the opposite side, you will end up having a neck imbalance that may lead to your head tilting. Okay. And so that's where the chiropractic is so amazing at getting rid of tension headaches. It's like crazy good. The biggest thing is like understanding that is a major role versus running and getting aspirin and thinking it's over. One of the biggest problems with tension headaches and the reason they get out of control on people is because a lot of people, you can physically work, right? So if you saw the reason I brought up the tension versus migraine, a migraine, you're like down. It's like you ain't moving. So your body's able to heal. The innate intelligence is trying to heal itself with that amount of pain. A tension headache, what occurs is if it's a muscular induced headache, so all this posture related stuff, when that occurs, if I move that posture, if I get the muscles moving and I start activity, quite a few times, the tension headache will kind of let up. And you kind of forget about that it's there until the next time, you stop the actual movement. And so that's what is so interesting about, looking at the posture of the neck and the shoulders. Okay. And of course, in a chiropractic office, it could be anywhere, right? It could be in the entire body, which I got story upon story about that. But what I want you to do tonight for the physical piece, I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to look directly and see, close your eyes for a moment and then open them and then see if your shoulders are level or not, because that's where you're going to see it. A lot of times you're not going to see the head tilt per se, that you have a neck problem. You're going to see it in the shoulders because it's doing this. It's trying to balance those out using the cables of which I would call the muscles. So think of like a cabled bridge and all those muscles from your shoulder. It's trying to make this perfect triangle, right? But if one side's tighter than the other, it has to adapt. And those are the things to watch for. Okay. And so the biggest thing is understanding where your tension headache's coming from. And tension headaches are a much easier solution based, or like you can find, why is this happening to me, right? Versus a migraine. A migraine has so many rabbit holes you have to go down sometimes that it can be frustrating. But a tension headache, you can do some really good things, and understanding it is what tonight's all about. So my first suggestion, being a chiropractor, is get your neck, your shoulders, and your upper back evaluated. I think that would be good. Getting on a treatment of some sort, especially if you've had a lot of tension headaches, that would be really, really smart. Okay. So part of it is get your posture analyzed. So talk to your chiropractor and go, is that why my tension headaches are happening? If that is, then you want to explore some other things. So we want to start talking about the exercises. And when we talk about these, this is what happens in chiropractic all the time. I love you all, but you can give the solution to the person, but it doesn't mean they necessarily do it. Because sometimes to a chiropractor, it's almost like a simplistic thing, right? So I look at you, go, okay, your shoulders are way off. We show you this stretch to do. And maybe it's because we don't have that, like, this is the most critical stretch in the world. If you do it, you will. I always like the ads on like YouTube and stuff. Oh man, I can't. Doctors won't like me saying this one. Have you guys heard that one? That was always good. Doctors won't like me telling you this secret, this money out of their pocket. And I always say, like, every day there's like these little stretches. If you do them and do them consistently with a goal of making it better, a lot of times you can beat the algorithm YouTube advertisement for the next bell and whistle that's going to change your world forever. But the idea is find out what your posture is. Look in the mirror yourself. Look in your mirror yourself. Is my one shoulder lower than the other, right? Is my head kind of tilted? If it is, check your spouse, check your wife, check your kids. That's a big one. Though that will be super helpful, because sometimes I have a patient right now, he doesn't feel any pain when his low back goes out, but his upper shoulders and his girdle get completely crooked, and he can still go through it. Doesn't mean his function's definitely different, but he doesn't notice it because all he worries about is the pain aspect. His wife is the one that says, oh my gosh, you're so crooked. Get in to get adjusted. And then he stays ahead of those painful conditions. So just remember that as you go. And so let's start talking about some exercises we can do for, let's say, forward head posture and some of the lateral stuff, or the head tilting. Okay. So let me show you one. This is a good example. Hopefully you guys see it. So this lady, this is an extreme case. Okay. So I don't want you to think that this is like a normal aspect, but this is sometimes you'll see these in like scoliosis. Some people have massive head tilting positions that you need to see, and everybody has versions of this that this poor lady has, just not as extreme as hers. We have slight, those kind of things. I have several patients that have this type of thing in scoliosis and all those things, because scoliosis is another one we'll talk about someday. That is such a fascinating thing. Something happens typically at birth where some of the mechanics of either the pelvis or the upper neck are off. And when that occurs, it begins the process of the scoliotic. Now, they tell you all the time it's genetic and blah, blah, blah. And I would have to say, in my training, I would say that it's not a done deal that it's all genetic. Like all of a sudden, magically, you're going to have your head tilt in certain ways. So that's why I promote very bigly, kids getting adjusted, getting evaluated a lot of times, because sometimes you can head it off before it actually happens. It depends on birth trauma is a thing. Birth trauma is a thing that is something that is to not be taken lightly. Like as this baby's coming into this earth, there's a lot of traumatics, especially when it's starting to take on gravity and everything else. Get the mechanics of all those little joints figured out beforehand. Okay. So I just wanted to show you a nice picture of kind of an extreme version of the head tilt, but at the same time, that's what we're kind of looking for. Okay. All right. So let's go to share my screen. We're going to do a couple videos tonight. I like this one. This is one of my favorite ones.
You found a place.
Dr. Berg. All right. Now, Dr. Berg, if you ever want to subscribe to something other than the 1% tribe, you definitely want to use Dr. Berg. He is fantastic. So we're going to go into his stretches. Okay. So the word fascia we'll talk about in a little bit. But we're going to go through a few of these different exercises that are super easy, but tension headaches should tell you do a ton of this. Okay. So that's the trigger piece that we have to figure out. All right. So here's a resistance band. Okay.
Important that you maintain a really good posture. So when you start out doing this, you might be very, very stiff, but try to do the best you can. So we're going to be holding some type of pole or some elastic band as far back as you can as you laterally bend to one side. So we're going to start off going to the right side, go to neutral, and go to the left side. This is one of my favorite exercises, and I'll tell you, if you're sitting...
Now, when she's doing this, she goes against the wall. Okay. So she's going against the wall. So for my podcast listeners, she's taking a broomstick, putting it above her head, putting her entire body against the wall, putting the broomstick above your head, right? And then laterally bending from side to side, keeping your arms straight like a straight Y. Okay. So hopefully my podcast people will hear that. And the reason you do that is because it starts to balance the shoulder girdle. Okay. So this is a really good
or
one.
You have a lot of stiffness. It's going to greatly open up your rib cage, your upper back, and you'd be surprised how much your neck is going to be very loose when you're done with this. Again, this is working on the entire fascia that extends beyond just the joints in your shoulders and your neck, because all this fascia connects down also through your lower back. It's very rare that we actually stretch in this lateral motion.
Right. So that's the coolest part. So let me see if this is the other one I want. Let's skip that one for now. Okay. This is the other one I want you guys to see. So this is just taking that same broomstick and trying to have like almost a back bend where you're going as far backwards as you can with your arms above your head. This is critical, guys. This is critical. So basically, for my podcast, once again, she's taking a broomstick, going above her head. And what she's doing is like trying to look up at the ceiling with her arms above her head, but her feet are standing. Okay. So she's going backwards and trying to hold that position. Why do you do that? It's to break up, and it's super uncomfortable. This one is not one of the ones that you would say is a, fantastic something that people love to do. Okay. But this one will make a huge difference, especially just getting that rib cage to go in the right direction. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So on this one, what we want to do is we want to go, oh, yeah. We want to keep our eyes level. This one's a little more difficult. I forgot about this one. You're kind of like going backwards, but trying to get your keeping your eyes level to the earth. All right. Look up Dr. Berg and correct your posture in just minutes in his videos. He's got hundreds of videos. But that one is kind of rough. But those are some things. Just using a broomstick is fantastic. Okay. So the big thing is like always understanding the different posture ones. Why am I focusing my time on my shoulders? Because a lot of times that's what's going to help you balance out the cervical spine, and the tension headache doesn't come just necessarily from the head, right? We have to take the pressure off of all those muscles in the lower piece that are causing those. Okay. So that's a good one. All right, let me go back to another one. All right, I like this one. Let's go into this one real quick for the head tilt piece. Okay. No, advertise. Okay. So this guy is not even talking about too much physical. Okay, hang on. All right. Sorry, guys. right. Did I not? Oh, man, I did that wrong. I'm sorry, guys. I just missed I was like, what is happening? Okay, this guy. So we're going to do this little stretch here. Okay. So he's going to go through it. It's not bad. It's a good way, though, to add it to your routine. I really like this because it's very, very simple. So he's putting one foot forward. Well, I'll let him kind of go through it. Now that
Tension at my rib cage. I then just hold that position. While I have this then solidified, I'm maintaining it.
So he has one hand against the wall, one hand away, like you're going to start to walk. Okay. And so then you have your feet staggered with so as it's like you're kind of rotating your trunk, and then you're able to rotate your cervical spine into the side of your arm being out.
Not forcing this position. I'm not like bracing my abs or anything. I'm just here as relaxed as possible. And then I'm going to turn my head toward the hand that's forward. Now notice as I'm turning my head, I do want to take my eyes and look forward. So I like to say, hey, I want to look at the thumb of the front hand. What this is going to do is start to stretch out some of the musculature around our neck. So I'm just going to stay here and do a total of 5 breaths. Full exhale, everything out. And then a slow, silent inhale through the nose. Just maintaining this position as I'm here. Exhale. And so on and so forth. Now, from a side view, just to give you kind of a...
Okay, so there is that. Okay, sorry about that. Forgot to screen share. But the idea is like anytime you can get a neck stretch, it's a very good one. So we're going to do one on camera here. And I like calling it, it's the easiest way to remember it is, for me, is smelling your own armpit. Okay, so what you're going to do is you want to turn to the side that your hand is coming up. So you're going to actually grab. So you're going to have one of your arms grab the opposite behind the ear. So let's say I have my right arm and it's going to go behind my left ear. And then I'm going to actually turn my face into my armpit. And then I'm going to allow that hand to kind of stretch and pull down, creating a nice stretch on what those fascial planes are. Okay. So the same thing on the other side. I'm going to take my left arm and reach around behind my right ear. Okay. And then I'm going to turn my head like I'm smelling my own armpit. And then you start stretching a little bit. Now that one with a little shoulder decompression helps a lot. So I just wanted to show you a couple exercises tonight. Biggest one is just doing it every day, right? Like if you got tension headaches and those chronic aspects, you have to do things every single day. Don't leave the house unless you do your neck exercises. So simple, but worth the time, worth the 2.5 minutes that it takes. Okay. All right. So now let's go into the next piece of tension headaches is what we can do for holistic approaches. Okay. So the different things that you can do. We've talked about chiropractic and we've talked about a few stretches. I'd like to add more, but this one's so packed. So I apologize if that's not enough stretches. I know. So holistic approaches can be a great complement to managing tension headaches, which are so caused by stress, muscle tension, and lifestyle factors. These methods focus on natural, non-invasive things that help promote relaxation and balance. So remember that these are things that we could try, and these are very specific to tension type headaches. The biggest one that I hear all the time is increase your water content. Many times we're not hydrated. That's one reason a tension headache does do. So I want to make sure you're hearing that. Tension headaches, hydration. That's the first question I'm going to ask you. So you better be ready. The new studies are saying 125 ounces, which is quite a bit of water. 125 ounces for men-ish, depends on weight and all those. You can look it up for your own weight and stuff. And 91 ounces in women. That's significant. So remember those numbers, because many, many people are not doing that. And remember the other thing, you might drink water, but a lot of the different things you do, energy drinks, coffee, all of them literally are what they call they dehydrate you. So they tell a mental task, let's say you have these energy drinks, it actually literally causes your body to release water. Okay. So not only are you drinking water, you're now taking something that's forcing water out of your body. So if you're not drinking it and you're drinking like a pop or something with caffeine in it, your brain is literally told to pee more because it thinks you're overhydrated. And that could be a problem. It's similar to beer, right? So beer or alcohol can do that same thing, where the reason you have a headache from hangover stuff a lot of times is dehydration headache. Why? Because there's a brain signal and neurology that occurs when the alcohol touches, says I'm too hydrated, makes the kidneys and everything release it, like breaking the seal when you heard in college. Okay, so hydration, number one thing to check, especially if you're doing tension type headaches a lot. Okay. So here's some common options in the herbal world. Peppermint oil, if it's applied topically or with a carrier oil, you can use it on temples and foreheads. It provides a very nice cooling sensation, relaxes muscles, and reduces pain. Studies suggest it can be just as effective as acetaminophen is for tension headaches. Peppermint oil, fantastic option. Lavender oil. Lavender oil sometimes is inhaled via aromatherapy or applied topically. It promotes the same thing, right? Relaxation, reduces stress. And those are some of the key triggers for tension type headaches. So it can actually, its research has shown it reduces tension type headaches. So lavender oil. Eucalyptus oil is similar to peppermint oil. It's got the menthol-like effects and it can open the sinuses too, if that's where the tension's coming from, and relieve pressure, dilute and massage into the neck and the temples. So sometimes, like with eucalyptus, if you have sinus issues, go back to one of my talks, the anticatarrhals or the stinging nettle. Those are two that you'd like to really, really take a look at as far as videos go for solutions and answers for you. Ginger. Because ginger is such a powerful, potent thing, remember it's an anti-inflammatory, huge, right? For joints and everything else, this might be your go-to. So ginger as a tea or supplement has an anti-inflammatory effect. It helps with nausea, but remember, tension headaches don't have necessarily nausea, but it has helped with the anti-inflammatory aspect. And they've noticed it in tension headaches. The other two that I want you to look at for sure, because they're really nice, and a lot of people don't know about this one, or the last one, but chamomile, as a brewed as a tea, acts as a mild sedative. So it acts as a nice muscle relaxers. And when you get those muscles relaxed in a tension type headache, it should ease the tension headache symptoms and are able to do that, especially in stress induced headaches. Okay. The last two are the interesting ones because you guys probably never heard of these, but they're very common in the herbal world for tension headaches, especially, and migraines actually. Feverfew and butterbur. Okay, so feverfew and butterbur. These supplements may prevent headaches by reducing inflammation, but use certified toxin-free versions and consult a doctor because of the potential side effects like digestive issues. So you want to make sure with feverfew and butterbur, you know what you're doing. You don't want to take something, but at the same time, that is a herbalist go-to a lot of times if they can if it helps with tension type headaches. Now, we're going to talk about the last one, which is one of the bigger things. We need to look at your diet. Like migraines, tension headaches is no different. If I have if I have this super inflaming diet, you're going to cause inflammation of all the joints of your body. If you cause inflammation of all the joints of your body, chances are you could have an easy opportunity for a tension type headache. Okay. And so that one, feverfew and butterbur are a great one, but look at the gut microbiome. Look at how you're eating. Change those things if we're not finding, the physical, if the stretches aren't making a difference, if changing your sleep position isn't making a difference, you know what I mean? So hopefully these will be a few things, but just remember feverfew and butterbur. Okay. So here's some other alternative approaches that I want to make sure you know, right? Of course, I'm going to talk chiropractic, but I love all alternative therapies, especially some of their great effects. Acupuncture is one that involves, you know what it is. It involves inserting thin needles into specific points in the energy chakra world and creating balanced energy and reducing pain. And it's huge reviews tested for centuries, and it does help tension headaches. Okay, especially the chronic ones. So a lot of times acupuncture, in the way it goes about energy balancing, can be a really, really big thing. Massage therapy is one people don't think about. They think about it as a relaxing piece. However, the fascia planes that the muscles get this normal. Okay. So when muscles get in a chronic way, we get forward head posture, we get side, that head tilt I was telling you about. All of those things create muscle memory to be in the same position. Our body is inherently going to mimic, it's going to run the same machine, right? And so what happens is you get this thing called the fascia. So the fascia is kind of like, I don't know. It's a hard description. Like, I would say like a rubber band. Okay. So yeah. So muscles need to be packaged. Okay. So you have to have a tight package around your human body in different compartments to make sure that they're all working. Well, we are a bunch of, let's say, Ziploc bags. So we're a bunch of Ziploc bags put together. And where those Ziploc bags are, where they put those muscles in there, would be considered fascia. That's probably the worst analogy ever, but whatever. You kind of get what I'm saying. So fascial planes are they border every single muscle of your body. And so these fascia are not rubber bands. They're rope, right? And so if something happens to that rope, we have to get it back to where that rope is more elastic again. Okay. And massage therapy can be a huge help in that. Yoga can be a fantastic one, especially finding out limitations that you didn't know you had. I see that one a lot. In the posture differences, we have these issues that we don't know about, and yoga is a really good way to figure out how to challenge them. Okay. And so yoga by itself, what I would look for if I was a big yoga person is which side do I do better than the other? Okay. That imbalance, once corrected, will allow the innate intelligence to truly balance the spine muscle system. Okay. So those are a few. Tai Chi and mindfulness meditation are some other ones that can help tension headaches quite a bit. Slow flowing movements of focused breathing, practices promoting relaxation and better stress management. And remember, tension headaches do have a lot. If you're not great with stress, this could be one of your causations. Biofeedback's been known because of the high stress situation and the chronic stress kind of thing. It controls your physiological response to stress. And so that's an interesting one. I think people still do that one. Let me know in the chat. I don't know if I've heard a lot of biofeedback anymore, but I've had a few people do it, I think. And my last final one that I love is hot and cold compresses. Okay. So, hot and cold therapy. This is the one. You get a tension headache. Okay. So, you get a tension headache. I want you to take an ice pack, 20 minutes in the back of your skull where that tension headache's residing. And then I'll have you take a or neck. Okay. So you're going to do that 20 minutes rotating in intervals. Okay. Maybe 3 to 4 times. I've seen some really crazy results with that, especially tension headaches, migraines. It might not work as well, but it still works pretty darn well. Okay. So remember that one. Okay. We did that. Okay. Okay. So here's the other part that is interesting is there's nutrition deficiency links to tension headaches because muscles if they're depleted, they're not working properly. Therefore, you get situations there and nervous system. So we're going to go through that. So magnesium deficiency could be one. Vitamin D deficiency could be another. B vitamins and riboflavin, those B12, B6, and folate, all can be deficiencies that can occur to cause tension type headaches. Coenzyme Q10 is another one that because if your body's not making it through the day, the tension headaches start to nail you. It's a very big one. And CoQ10 is huge in energy production and your heart. Okay. So it's one that we're pretty deficient in. And then, of course, we talked about dehydration and electrolyte balance. Those two deficiency type situations are really what kind of gets you kick-started. All right. So here's some cool stuff. My family, my daughters have a tendency to get headaches from time to time. I'm showing you a couple things that I thought were pretty cool tools that you could get on like Amazon or something. This first one is kind of new. It's like you put this whole cap in the freezer, and then it's a ice pack that actually goes over your entire skull. Now, Rachel, Allie, they all got this, and when they do get a headache, this thing is phenomenal. They absolutely love it. And what's weird is I don't get headaches. I tried it, and it's very relaxing actually, which is kind of crazy. You wouldn't think it would be so relaxing, but it is phenomenal. So sometimes just getting a head cap that is an ice pack is kind of the rave as far as it goes. The other one is, if you look on the screen, it's like a neck. I would call it a neck traction pillow or a neck track, but it's not really traction. It just puts your neck in the proper curve, and it's made out of foam so it doesn't move, but it puts you in a really good spot. Really, really, people that suffer with major tension headaches, they really, really like this pillow. You lay on it for a while. It helps to kind of reset that fascial plane with the muscles and everything else. Okay. And then this one is one that's been around. They call it the neck hammock. The neck hammock, I think I've seen people and they really, really like this. Many of the times, the only thing I worry about, I'll be honest with you on these, using these different tools, it's great. But what happens is we're when you have a headache, you're so focused on getting rid of the headache that you're not really caring about what the causation is, right? And that's one of the problems. We have to keep looking and evaluating. These tools are great. And it's just like anything, though. If I don't know where it's coming from, this is be good. But this neck traction, this neck hammock feels so good to a lot of people. And the amount of cortisol stress situation that our lives are in anymore, many times a lot of your stress is going to be in that neck area, right? And so this thing is pretty cool. You hang it from a door or something, and then it goes from there. So So those are some 3 items I thought you guys would like. So remember that. Just remember that ice cap. That one seems to make a big difference. Okay. Now, for our final piece that I love to talk about is what are the thoughts that are connected? So remember, and we'll have this probably next week, we're going to talk about epigenetics in our consciousness and, like helping take it to the next level on these. Remember, all the time we have subconscious programs, and those subconscious programs run, and it gives us our reaction, right? The program tells us how we're going to respond. And sometimes our program is not in the best interest of who we are. So one of the things this lady named Louise Hay wrote a book called Heal Your Body years ago. And in there, she gave, and it's been more detailed ever since, but I really like her basics. In there, kind of helps you guide on what to think about when you have a chronic condition that keeps popping up. What is the mental exercise I could do? Okay. And so we always end with like a mantra. So, okay. So what are usually Louise Hay associates headaches with? Invalidating the self, dismissing or devaluing your own worth, feelings, or needs, self-criticism, harsh inner judgment or perfection, fear, often underlying anxiety or resistance. And you can see some of these that I have from Louise Hay. There's one specific. Headaches are a little different because they are different. There's so many. And that's why tonight's was such a long one, because I feel like I'm just tapping on the beginning of the iceberg. We could have spent so much time on so many pieces. This aligns closely with tension headaches in the whole holistic interpretations. They often stem from stress, self-imposed pressure, overthinking, and muscle tightening resistance of life's demands. Patterns that create inner tension manifesting physically in the head, neck, and shoulders. Okay. So here is your affirmation. This is so when we look at these thought pieces, we're going to go through our affirmation, and we want to shift our epigenetics to the good, right? Epigenetics means we can change our genes. So by saying the same to changing our perspective, we actually literally change our body. To shift this pattern and support healing, Louise Hay recommends these affirmations. Easy ones like, I love and approve of myself. Or variations such as, I love and approve of myself. I see myself and what I do with the eyes of love. Okay. So I love this one because I love, and I'll do it one more time. Here's the affirmation. I love and approve of myself. I see myself and what I do with eyes of love. Okay. So little frou-frou for some, but so real. When we start understanding that these subconscious programs, you could literally get a piece and get out of that situation. It doesn't become so frou-frou anymore. So that's kind of cool. Okay. So what are we going to do for our 1% tribe, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to start making some changes in your lifestyle. We're going to start doing those neck exercises. Try some of those ones with the broomstick over your head and moving back and forth. That would be a really good one. Do some self-evaluation. Look in the mirror. Look at your posture. Is it based on misalignments, muscle imbalances, all those kind of things? Try some of the herbs we talked about. Maybe go get some peppermint oil, some eucalyptus oil, something. Try rubbing it in those areas. Maybe when you don't have a headache, put some peppermint oil on anyway. That would be a good idea. And so always there's a full script. I can put that up. Let me see. Not banner. What is this? Oh, if you want to, there's a QR code in the corner. Oh, maybe this one. Oh, geez. It took over the whole screen. Well, that was supposed to be, take that one away. There we go. I don't know why I got, oops. Okay. There we go. There's a QR code that I can't get rid of. All right. Well, oh, this thing. Okay, there we go. The QR code in the corner. A lot of times full script is fantastic to get a lot of those different herbs. that you may want. Sorry, guys. So hopefully I didn't go through too fast. Tension headaches is like not an hour presentation, probably more in the many hour presentation. So I try to get some stuff that could be potentially more relevant to us and as our journey, because we've had cervical stretches. I'd go right to there. It's kind of a culmination of a lot of things. So with that said, next week I want to talk some major epigenetics. I'm excited about that. And make sure tribe1.substack.com, you just become part of that email list. You only get like 2 emails a week and maybe a new newsletter out there. Remember Rumble, the prize inside. Give me a thumbs up or like on this video so we can get some more traction. And if you like YouTube, we're on there at the prize inside you. So with that said, tonight, I will see you Wednesday for Whole Health Weekly, where we go over the latest trends in holistic health. There's some really good articles popping up. I see them already. So I'm hoping to be able to talk about those and look at it from a holistic perspective. So with that said, you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have a great week. Have a fantastic Monday and just keep rolling, baby. We got this. I know. Your innate intelligence, your body told me. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic.